Hey, cucks and cuckettes, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, gender people and non-binary gender people. Welcome back to episode 3 of the Coinflip podcast. I'm your host, Zach Romeus, and with us today we have Leadbrain.
The other formidable host. That was a much more long-winded opening.
Well, that was.
Did you really have to
I quite
do
like
that
the gender and non-binary shit we just did.
Quite a good one. We support correctness here. All about respecting individuals.
That's a joke. We actually don't.
Yeah,
It's cancel.
Fuck off.
Anyway.
You're either this or this.
So anyway, me and Justin usually have arguments about this.
Yes,
One of my
quite
favourite
regularly.
series on television, Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad, for those of you who don't know, was a very well-directed AMC series made by Vince Gilligan, who is a brilliant director and has multiple good shows on TV right now, such as Better Call Saul, which is a prequel to Breaking Bad, which I'll get into eventually in this episode. So we'll spend most of this episode talking about why I think Breaking Bad is a great show and one of the best on television, or was, it ended 2013, and he's going to be debating whether criticisms he has with it, and I'll be sharing some criticisms and points I have with it.
Yeah.
If you don't like Breaking Bad or don't want to hear us ramble and argue, then I'm afraid this episode isn't for you, so, fuck off.
Fuck off.
So yeah, let's get right into it. Now, Breaking Bad, I think, is a well-paced series, well-choreographed sort of gunfights at times, very likable characters, minus a few of them like Skylar and her sister. Very likable protagonists, Walt and Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
A few non-pandering points, which I really like. And great plot points, great sort of villains as well, like Tuco and all that. So tell me some stuff you don't like about Breaking Bad.
Look, to be honest with you, I just found the whole series really, really dull at this point.
You found the whole series really dull? Because I found the whole series really entertaining.
For instance, there's my big jumping off point would be season 2 when they always opened it up with the plane crash.
But that was good. It was building suspense.
I know it was building up to him going, all right, his actions have further consequences, and this is what even though he accidentally killed one person, he's killed actually realistically hundreds of people
because season 2
because of the plane crash, which is just why did you spend that much time building that up?
So season 2 begins with this teddy bear and this pool of white stuff. Then it's revealed it's at the end of the season a plane crash happens. Jesse's girlfriend Jane has a drug overdose and dies, and her father gets depressed at his job and accidentally crashes a plane. Or purposely, I don't know. And then a bit of wreckage falls into Walt's yard. And then teddy bear falls in the pool, and it was dragged out the entire season. What is it? What's happening? What's his mystery? And it was revealed at the end.
Yeah, but the mystery was the payoff wasn't that good.
It wasn't meant to be a good payoff. It was just a little Easter egg that would drag you out through the entire season.
Yeah, but why? Why? It seemed like it was such the focal
connections
point to prove that his actions have consequences. It's pretty obvious that his actions have consequences.
Well, it does. But I don't necessarily think it's that point in general. The point was basically, you can see what you've become. Walt sees what he's become after all this stuff happens. Him not helping Jane has caused all these people to die. He knows that's the truth. He knows it's his dad because Walt meets Jane's dad at the bar, and before she has an overdose or whatever fucking happens, he's when he sees the plane crash happen and all the people die, it's oh my god, that Albuquerque plane crash, that was my fault because I could have saved Jane. Her father wouldn't have got depressed. Her father wouldn't have gone to the job and crashed the plane and all these people wouldn't be dead. So that's not necessarily actions have consequences for Jane's dad, but Walt.
But in a lesser extent, even though you could go, oh, it's all Walt's fault, it's just the dad could not have gone into work.
Well,
that's an option.
His daughter just...
yeah, but his daughter died. Would you think, oh, yeah, maybe he enters a bout of depression and doesn't actually, function for a while?
Yeah, something like that. But, and then even then, the Easter egg, and it's a very good consistency level that Breaking Bad has. It's Hank will be wearing the little ribbon that supports the plane crash or whatever.
What? I never picked that up.
Well, during season 3 and 4, there are people like Hank and all that, and all the people, it's the DEA and all that, and characters just around the scenery in general of Breaking Bad wearing this, how they have the cancer ribbons, support cancer and all that? It's that, but it's support the Albuquerque plane crash, all funds go to whatever. And then Walt will have to...
I never picked that.
Well, it's been a while since you watched the series.
I watched it, but I never recall people ever talking about that.
They don't talk about it, it's just a thing, it doesn't matter. It's a little Easter egg, not even really important. Anyway, let's move about some of the characters on Breaking Bad. Walter White is a great character. He starts off as an average family man who's getting a bit older and feels like he's not doing anything with his life.
And he gets lung cancer. And
then he gets lung cancer and thinks, I'm going to be dead in a few years, so I'm going to need to leave my family some money. He begins, with the help of a high school loser dropout, Jesse Pinkman, who's a pretty cool character. he thinks of Jesse as nothing at that point, but begins to really grow on him and help him as a person. Walt sort of... They make meth together. They make quite a bit of money off it. They have to find villains at the time who distribute the meth for them, like Tuco Salamanca, who dies at the hands of Hank, who gets shot. Really, really cool scene.
Mm-hmm.
Even that has a little Easter egg I'll get into in a minute. Gustavo Fring, Mike Ehrmantraut, my personal favourite character. Stuff like that as the series progresses. Now, there is this part in Season 1 where, you know, the car that's, like, jumping up and down, like...
Yeah.
That is revealed in one of the few episodes... First episodes of Season 2 to be like Tuco was moving the car so Hank would have like a worse aim at him, and then Hank just shoots Tuco and he dies.
Yeah.
Like the Salamanca family is great to like the lore, I guess, to a certain extent of Breaking Bad. Like you got Hector Salamanca, he has a connection with Gustavo Fring, they hate each other, he killed Gus's partner. He ends up killing Gus in the end as well, but sacrificing himself in the process. Taking out a villain, so Walt has less of an obstacle, more of a story to go ahead on.
Yeah, it's a story, but the thing is, it's so dull. Like,
it's not dull. It's done in a very well.
It is very it is
right,
well
how's it dull?
made.
How's it dull?
Well, first off, very few things actually happen. Like it's building up. Like the thing for me is it builds up to big moments, and then the big moments lack payoff. Like for instance, when they were building up to Gus's death, it was cool. But the payoff wasn't that good.
It was. They do it in a very clever way.
Like
when you see Gus like walk out, yeah, that's like because Hector had a bomb on him.
It's cool, but that's it.
Well, Hector has a bomb on him, and he's like, "Bong bong, I'm gonna take out this guy who I hate. I killed his partner, and I'm gonna kill him and his gay black henchman, whatever his name is, Tyrese." That happens. It's a cool payoff. Gus is dead. You see like the aftermath, the beginning of the next season. It's really good.
Yeah. I still don't see it. Like they moves in the next scene, and then he becomes the kingpin and is like head of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just like it was, like the opening was cool. Like the first opening sequence in which he's like in his underwear and he's about to like shoot, and then there's like nothing and they're just looking. He's like, what the fuck?
Again, it's building up suspense. You're like, oh, when's this gonna happen in the series? It's the first episode. I wonder what kind of crazy antics Walt will get up to soon.
But the thing is, like, because when I watched it, it was all like complete and everything. So the thing is, there's like...
You get to watch the whole series. Like, that's great.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, when you go into that knowing that there's another episode and there's another, like, series to go on, it's just like, well, Walt's not going to die, Jesse's not going to die. Like, the main characters aren't endangered whatsoever.
They're always in danger. It's how they deal with the danger that helps them progress as characters and create interesting plot points and interesting characters.
Die. They're not going to die.
They do die.
Whereas, like, contrasted with, like, the season which Negan was introduced, that was a good time because, at any point, anyone could, like, die.
I disagree with that. The entire season of Walking Dead, season 6, I think it was, the entire season was pretty dull, if not a bit of more of a pickup, and Negan was like one good thing about it. And even he becomes really stale after a while.
But when he was out there like killing people, it would made things tense because it was just like, oh god, anyone could die at any time.
Do you feel
whereas Breaking Bad didn't feel that way? It's just like, oh,
yeah, it does. The main character dies, and he kills like a bunch of other main characters.
End.
Well, sorry.
That's it.
Yeah, well, it's not Game of Thrones where main characters have to die in the middle, beginning, and end of the series. It's sort of like...
Yeah, but there has to be, like, some sort of palpable danger.
There is danger.
You don't feel the danger when it's, like, the whole thing's complete in front of you.
There's one point when Mike has to kill Walt, but he changes his mind because Walt does something. Or there's one part where Gus points a gun in his head. Is like, you know what? Don't fuck with me anymore. You're out of my business. You're fired. But then he kills Gus instead, so it's a consequence of not being killed. There's consequence to the series, there's weight to these characters, there's character development to these characters, there's things to enjoy about Breaking Bad because it's a great series, there's interesting plot points, really cool characters, well done action, very, very, very awesome acting. It's all on point. It's one of the series where everything has to be on point, or none of it will be. And for the most part, I think a lot of it is on point. The acting is very nice, as I said. Well choreographed gunfight scenes, interesting characters. I'm repeating myself at this point, but there's really cool plot threads as well. Connecting threads, interesting characters, Easter eggs, references to real life and political matters. And it's done in a way that's not only coherent and entertaining, but very fun to watch and very fun to rewatch, in my opinion.
I didn't get any enjoyment out of it. Like, the characters are good, but the thing is, like, there's so few moments that are, like,
Would you seriously go as far to say that you didn't get any enjoyment out of Breaking Bad?
There's, like, a couple of cool moments.
There's a lot of cool moments.
But it's overshadowed by the drudge, like, the boring parts. Like,
it's not like Batman vs Superman, where it's all just sad, dreck, murkness, and...
It is mostly sad, dreck, build
It's not.
up.
It's there's comedic parts as well. There's really well done
It
action,
really
which
isn't.
keeps you're
It's, like,
like an
really
action
dark and depressing most
That's
of the
good,
time.
but it's not dull, dark and depressing like something like The Dark
Like
Knight.
for instance, like one point where Jesse's going through like depression and he's like just having
but you
parties every day,
know-
and he's just like zoned out of his mind.
Because that's how he
like, the
deals
whole-
with it. That's
Yeah, but the thing is, like, they're not built. Like, it's just him like doing nothing. It's like he's not doing anything.
well, he's doing something. He's getting over his depression. A bot helps him out. They go through another villain of that season. Whether it be Gustavo Fring, I can't admittedly remember what season it was, or Jack Welker, all that sort of stuff. As it progresses, more characters are introduced, and these people have to pick themselves up. Jesse has to slump himself
And the
out
other
of
thing
depression.
is, like, the villain of Jack and those, like,
Alright, Jack was the
they
least.
came out of nowhere.
Jack was the least best villain, but at least it didn't come out of nowhere. It had a connecting thread. He was the uncle of Todd, who was a character introduced before. He was connected in part to Lydia Rosart Quayle, who was a.
Okay, where did Lydia and
Lydia-
Todd come from?
Oh, well, Todd was a part of the extermination crew who had to go around because they needed to. They killed Gustavo. They needed to make meth more low key. So
Yeah, I know.
what-
So they were going
Mike
around
organized
to
it.
exterminating
But then he's like, hey, if you want help, my uncle happens to be this guy who just got out of prison and owns a white supremacy gang or some shit, and he can help you make meth. That's another plot point. And that's connected for a different plot point where, I don't know, Todd falls in love with
Lydia.
Or, for example, there's connecting threads even beyond that. Like, Mike set up the whole thing. Mike had a relationship with Lydia that didn't end, not a personal relationship, but like a relationship in the sense of business that didn't end well.
Yeah.
They're not partners anymore. Mike really not hates her, but respects her enough to kill her mercifully, even though that doesn't happen. Mike,
I mean, like, what?
Mike
Walt
is the
kills her with, like, ricin and just goes, yeah, you're feeling a bit fluish? Yeah, it's because I put ricin in your tea.
You could argue that there's no consequence to the end of the series when Walt gets everything he wants and kills all the villains. Not really. He himself dies and his family doesn't get money.
He was going to die. Like, the final season is him knowing he's going to die.
Yeah, but his family doesn't get the money.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, they do.
Well, he threatens Fingo.
He threatens the rich family. Goes, look, I need you guys to make sure this money is given to my family.
Yeah, but then they're going to get audited immediately by the police.
Yeah, true. But in a way, like, he still orders them to give the family his money.
Okay.
But
So, who dies at the end of the series? Mike is dead. Spoiler alert, by the way, in case you weren't stupid enough to know. Mike dies. Walt shoots him out of anger. Gustavo dies, killing Hector Salamanca in the process, or the other way around, sorry. Therese dies. Bloody Lydia dies. Jack dies.
Todd dies. Everyone.
Todd dies. Walter White
A lot of
dies.
people fucking
Pretty
die.
much everybody but Skylar, Walt Jr., and Jesse die.
And the baby.
And the baby, I guess. And
And the baby.
fucking Skylar's annoying sister is probably my least favorite character.
Yeah.
She's a massive hypocrite as well. What's Hank's wife? Marie. Marie. Now
yeah.
Marie is like, oh, well, you're a terrible person. Why don't you kill yourself? You're a drug addict. Because Hank gets really angry, and Marie gets really angry and annoying, and it's quite obnoxious after they figure out Walt's actually Heisenberg.
Yeah.
And Marie's kind of a hypocrite because, you know, there was a plot point earlier in the series where she was actually a thief.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
So that's kind of hypocritical on her part. But I found
Yeah.
her a very annoying character. And Hank was a really cool character who had to put up with her bullshit all the time.
Yeah.
When Hank gets shot by Tuco's cousins, the Salamanca brothers, the Mario brothers, whatever, that was a consequence of Walt's actions. His family is now getting hurt, so there's consequences.
Yeah, but the thing is, he is a part of the DEA, so it's just like kind of like, well, of course he's in danger because he's.
No, but he's in danger specifically because Walt formed a partnership or works for Gustavo Fring at the time alongside Jesse. Gustavo Fring was like, I know this guy helped kill Tuco, who was your cousin, but this guy was the actual one who killed him, and they show a picture of Hank, Gustavo does, and he's like, kill Hank instead, don't kill Walt, he's my partner. So they go after Hank, and that's a consequence of Walt being associated with him in the first place.
Yeah. But the thing is, the guy Hank himself works for the DEA. Yeah. He's always in danger. Like, when he does finally die,
But
at the hand of Jack's gang.
Yeah.
Like, why does Jack kill him in the... Like,
Well,
just because...
Jack's not a nice guy, he's a neo-Nazi without
yeah.
sounding pandering. He is a neo-Nazi.
Yeah, he is. He's a horrible human being, no doubt about it.
He's got this gang. He doesn't want to keep... Obviously, if you're a criminal and you have no morals, would you really want to keep a police officer alive? No, you wouldn't. That's a terrible idea. So obviously he's going to kill him. Hank even says... Hank is even like, at one point, he's like, you're too stupid to know, but you're the smartest guy I know. He made up his mind fucking 20 seconds ago and then he gets shot.
Yeah, he gets shot, yeah.
That's a consequence.
Yeah. So he's trying to, like, sort out things with Jack, but then Jack just straight up kills him.
Yeah.
And, like, Hank gets killed because he followed Walt.
He didn't follow him, he tried to stop him.
No, he was
And-
like he put a tracker on his car,
No,
followed him to his
yeah, yeah.
money, attempted
Follow
to
in
arrest
that way,
him.
yes, absolutely.
Attempt to arrest him, but then Jack's gang rocks up. So Hank could have like thought of going, oh yeah, maybe following this like possible criminal gangster who's
He
probably the
didn't-
head of everything. Probably not the best idea.
No, because he still thinks that Hank is smart. He still knows that Walt has morals left in him and wouldn't kill him. That's why Walt was screaming, "No, Jack, don't kill him," or whatever. Everyone's really shocked when he actually did kill him, because Hank didn't actually know that Jack's gang was going to be there. He didn't know who Jack was. He didn't know that this neo-Nazi gang existed.
And then Jack steals everything from him.
So your
and
point
leaves
is
him in
kind
the
of
desert.
invalid in that regard. There is consequence. There is emotional like weight and depth in that scene.
Yeah, but I didn't feel like the emotional payoff in that scene. I didn't feel sad or anything. Like,
Hank's like my
it's just
favorite
like,
character.
Oh, it's
so
like
I
that
do.
was another thing that was possibly going to happen. Like it's a crime, so it's a bit of a. There is a sense of predictability to it.
It's not predictable. It's actually legit not. And I'll tell you why. This is why it's not predictable. And I'm going to tell you why. It's not predictable because you didn't see it coming. Well, I myself didn't see it coming, but the audience...
You didn't see the main character.
Look at the general perception of the audience.
being killed.
You look at the general perceptions of the audience. We didn't know Hank was going to die there. We thought that he was going to stop Walt, or Walt was going to team up with him and put an end to it. It's not... The moral is basically... The moral of the story, not everything's going to have a happy ending, so don't expect it. And that's what Breaking Bad
but
excels
the thing
at.
is, Breaking Bad is essentially a crime series. It's based on like criminal acts being performed. Kind of obvious. It's not going to have a happy ending.
Well, no, because you can
Did
have a cop out.
Sopranos have a happy
Oh,
ending?
Sopranos is probably one of my favorite series ever. They had amazing episodes. Dipped a bit towards the end, but it's still really great.
But did it have like a happy ending?
It had a slightly disappointing ending, but yes, it had a happy ending. The main character, Tony Soprano, lives. Everything's over. Oh,
That's it.
spoilers.
That's it. Like, does he like?
So no, you would have expected that would have a dark ending if you're.
I was like, the thing is like with a crime series, it can kind of go in two ways. One, either it has a happy ending, everyone gets away,
And that is generic. Nobody wants
Yeah.
generic. So you
Two-
can have the in between. Two, it has a really dark ending and everybody fails. But that's also
either two, and the other possibility is everyone is miserable by the end of it.
That's also a possibility, yes, and I understand that. But you got to look at it from this perspective. If you do the middle, not a happy ending and not a sad ending, but an in-between ending. Yeah, the villains are dead, but his family's poor, at least for now, and the main character himself dies. And that is a really cool scene when Walt dies. He's like sort of...
Yeah, it's a tragic
he's
moment
smiling.
where he's walking about his his laboratory, and he's just put his hand on
And
it.
like there's a nice song playing, Baby Blue by whatever.
Yeah. It's like that is a great moment.
That's a great
It's a
scene
good
in
way to
general.
wrap it up in general.
The finale in particular was really well done.
But then it's kind of like in the end, no one really wins except
Walt wins, but he
Walt,
dies.
But that's arguable if he does win.
He
Like,
does kind of, but he dies
but
at the
if he
same
not,
time.
but he knew the whole time the cancer was going to kill him. Then it's kind of like, well, what was the point?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Like,
He
even if-
wins. He knew he
Like,
was going to die.
even if he does, even if he wasn't shot and just bled out, right? And like that's probably the worst way to go, bleeding out, just bleeds out to death, which terrible way for a villain to go, main character to go. And like he just like survives that moment. The cancer's going to kill him anyway.
Well, yeah, but he's smiling
What's
at the
the
end. He knows
point?
he what's the point of all he's accomplished? He knows his name's out there. Whether he's a criminal, he's built an empire, and he's sort of happy about that. He even says,
He destroyed his empire.
"Yeah, but he's made a reputation for himself as he died." Someone like another criminal, not fucking Pablo Escobar. He has a reputation out there. He has a legacy, even if it's a bad legacy. He has one.
He has a legacy. He was
Walt's
once
not only happy
one of
he
the richest
created
men in
that,
the
but
world.
happy he accomplished all he did in the time he had because he knew he had lung cancer and he knew he was going to die.
Anyway,
so he
yeah.
killed all the villains, people he didn't like. He, I guess, secured money for his family. It's kind of up to
Yeah.
interpretation whether they got it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he did threaten them and go, all right, here, guys, use these laser pointers and threaten them, and I'll just say you're the world's best snipers. There we go.
That was pretty funny. I like that scene.
That was a funny scene.
That was a great scene. But getting back to plot points, there were really good plot points throughout the series. Tuco's cousins, Heisenberg showing up, they fake arrest Heisenberg, all this other stuff like Walt keeping it from Skylar briefly, Walt going through the emotional depth of his first murder, then murdering people after that, Jesse going through all this hard stuff. Jesse is like the complete opposite contrast of Walt. Like Walt's sort of the smart family man who's dying but has a darker side. Jesse is kind of like the sad loser who dropped out of high school and is barely making by
Barely
and does
getting
drugs
by
and makes
he's
drugs.
dying horribly.
But the two come together and they sort of no homo, complete each other. Like, Walt helps out Jesse become a better person, even though Jesse has a lot of emotional problems, whether he has these children dying constantly. Jesse makes a lot of enemies with Todd and everything.
Yeah. But that being said, like, Jesse in the end is, like, brutalized. And, like, even at one point when he's, like, threatened to not make meth, they kill, like, the love interest of him. And then they go, oh, don't worry, there's still the kid.
Yeah.
And, like, even at the end, he's, like, mentally broken.
Yeah, but that's good. That's really well done scene.
He was a functioning man, and now he's and then they just break him.
He's not really broken. As he's driving off away from...
He was crying.
He was crying out of happiness because he's free. He's been in prison for months, and he's been treated terribly for months by Jack's gang. He's escaped. He's free. The original unaired ending was that Jesse gets arrested and Walt massacres an entire prison with a machine gun and saves him.
That would have been probably a cooler.
No, that wouldn't have been cooler. I like the ending we got. I thought the ending was absolutely spectacular. What we got.
It was just like the final ending. It's kind of like it would have been better if it's just like they killed Jack's gang. But
No, that would have been...
No. The better ending would have been like sticking with that whole ending where the whole Walt rescues Jesse from the prison. It's kind of like the connection those two characters build. Like even though they've done all this,
they did. They stare at each other as everybody's dead. And
Jesse was gonna kill him. Like unless he saw the.
It shows emotional depth, and it was really cool.
Like,
Jesse's like, no, you do it yourself. Jesse still has a connection to Walt. Walt still has a connection to Jesse. Really good ending. You can't argue.
Jesse.
No, you can't recover.
Jesse
Shut up.
hated Walt.
He didn't.
They were was going to shoot him, and then you saw the
best
friends
at one point
dead anyway.
because he kind of loved Walt in a certain way, not in a romantic way, obviously, but like a sort of mentor friendship sort of way. He's like, no, you want to die, you do it yourself, and he shows him the gun because of the respect he has for Walt in a certain extent. I know he hates him, but he also loves him for everything they've been through, all the horrors they've seen together, and everything that's happened throughout the series. So in my opinion, that is a really good ending, really well done scene, really good like emotional sort of contrast and everything.
I don't see it.
How do you not see it? It's right in front of you.
Jesse hated Walt. Like, there were so many points in the series where Jesse straight up tells Walt he hates him.
Yeah, well, Walt has to deal with that and sort of fix Jesse over time. Walt's, towards the end of the series, all Jesse has left. His ex-girlfriend's dead. The people he care about mostly are dead. His parents are off doing something else. They don't care about him.
Yeah, his parents hate him.
They know he's a drug addict. And he's being held prisoner, and his best friend, to a certain extent, Walt, is gone. So he's alone, and he sees Walt saves him, and that final sort of redemption moment is what stops Jesse from killing Walt, and is like, no, you want to die, you do it yourself, and hands him the gun. Because he still has respect and friendship for Walt. And that was a really good scene, really good payoff. And the entire series of Breaking Bad is about plot points like that, where Jesse and Walt Walt teaches Jesse stuff. When they're about to kill Tuco, he's like, no, let him bleed out.
Or when Skylar gets more involved in the crime stuff, which is just like, what?
That's a
180 on a character.
No.
Seen it.
Well, no, because Skylar didn't get involved. She
has
a breakdown.
Run the money laundering.
She helped with Ted Beneke and Beneke Fabrications run the money laundering, but that was Ted who started that. And Skylar was like, well, my husband's money laundering. I got kids to take care of, and now my ex-lover Ted Beneke is also money laundering. I don't have any way to escape this crime business. What am I supposed to do? And the sort of weight that she's been carrying about being a part of, accepting Walt's like a meth business and accepting basically Ted Beneke's money laundering. She has no choice but to go on with it, and that takes a toll on her. As when she walks in the pool and looks like just emotionally drained, when she's like refuses to do anything and makes like the children move out the house because they don't want them growing up in that environment. It takes a toll on her, and you see the emotional weight carrying on Skylar's back sort of take off on her. I don't like Skylar as much, but I think she's an okay character. I hate her sister. She's probably the worst character.
Yeah, the sister is just the worst.
Hypocrite, annoying, and
Hank is likable.
Hank is one of my favorite characters. He's awesome.
Hank is likable. Mike
Ehrmantraut is my favorite character, and I'll tell you why. He's alright, he's amazing.
Right.
Mike Ehrmantraut might come off as a bit boring and dull at first, but after you sort of learn that he's less of a boring character and more of a mysterious character. Mystery helps keep a boring character from being boring. Like, Mike has all this... when you learn his history, even in the prequel to Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, you learn that Mike had a son who died in the police force, and he kills the dirty cops who killed his son.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers. Better stop saying that.
Spoilers.
But you don't have to watch Better Call Saul to understand Mike better. You know what Mike's like. Mike's sort of a hitman. He's pretty old, he's worn out, but he still wants to do his part and make money for his stepdaughter and granddaughter at the end of the day. And that's what makes you like Mike, because of what he's been through, what he's seen, and how he treats other people, how he's actually willing and to give everyone a chance. Even if he's really guttural and sort of, I guess, cold to everyone except his boss and his grandchild. He's a character who actually has a lot of depth to him, who actually has character development that's done really well. Mike Omenshire is probably the best character in the series. You like him because you know he's seen some shit. You know that he's willing to take out the baddies, I guess. You know he's willing to make money, but also save himself.
Yeah, but in a way, like, they're all villains. Like, they're all, like...
Villain is a very broad term, though, isn't it?
They're all, like, they're all committing crimes.
There's generic, like Luke Skywalker versus the evil Emperor, good versus evil. Very simplistic themes, which I like, very nice. There's also the in-between line on Breaking Bad. Yes, Walt's a drug addict, a drug dealer. And yes, Jesse's a drug dealer. But, you know, they have good good ambitions at the end of the day. They want to make money and keep their family safe. They don't want to hurt anybody, or at least Walt doesn't. But they have to in order to achieve their goals. So it's kind of morally ambiguous in a way. But they achieve it all in a way that's very satisfying. And also, with a great payoff.
One thing that was really annoying for me on how Walt gets found out by his brother, Hank.
That was great.
All because he left a bloody book in the toilet.
Well, how was he supposed
to... What the hell?
Well, Walt, I think... Well, he probably knew that Hank knew about...
there was completely no
Gail
suspicion.
Bedecker.
No suspicion whatsoever.
That was dumb on Walt's part, but
it
was his house. He didn't know Hank was going to use the bathroom while he's taking a poo. He looks at the book and it's like, oh my god, Gail Bedecker, and it says my other WW, which is Walt Whitman, White. So that is sort of a counter translation. So he sees it and he's like, oh my god, and then he goes back to his garage.
The better question is, like, at the end of that season, it's just like he's beating Gus. There's no loose ends, and the thing that he gets busted on is because he left a book in the toilet, which is just kind of like, you left it, like, that was the one linking thread that you could have easily destroyed. You could have just burnt it in your backyard.
Yeah.
Why didn't you?
Because he didn't know Hank was going to use the bathroom. Hank's the only one who knows what it meant, and Walt didn't even fully know that Hank knew what it meant. So he's like, oh, this is just some random stuff. I know we talked about it earlier with Hank, but as if he's going to see it, as if he's going to pick up that book when he's reading, as if he's going to dig to the pile. So that was pure luck, pure coincidence, and that's a good scene.
That's not a reason to push us. That's like going, plot, because the plot demands that he be found out.
Luck can be used well, and luck can't be used well in a series. Okay, and it's not pure luck that carries Breaking Bad. It's good writing, good storytelling, good plot points. Like, no, let me finish. Hank with the whole finding out Walt, and then he punches Walt in his garage, and he's like, "You're Heisenberg." And he confesses up. Hank's really shocked, but also somewhat disappointed that all this time it's been someone who's right under my nose. That's a classic tale as old as time, and it's done really well.
Yeah, the final part in the final 2 seasons, in which is just him and Hank just bantering back and forth about him being who he is.
Yep.
It's just kind of like. The thing is, even though he's like got that one bit of thread connecting him to being Heisenberg, there's no legitimate evidence.
I suppose not.
So the thing is just like, Hank's claim isn't going to stand up in court. So let's say if Heisenberg was smart enough to go, all right, no link, bang. And like, even if the cancer did come back, which he probably would have, he could have just afforded some of the best treatment in the world to get it cleaned off.
If it happened in the series and they did end up in court, 1, Hank has proof that with the Gail Bedecker books or the security footage, he can pinpoint it to Walt when they rob the methamphetamine. 2, Hank has certain not only like plot devices, but certain plot threads from earlier, such as just the security footage that I said, but also the fact that Walt was present at these certain scenes. The laptop. Why would Walt want the laptop destroyed when he had Mike and Jesse help him out? He can pinpoint that.
The magnet was cool. The magnet scene, that was one of the cooler parts of the episode.
I'm not saying Breaking Bad as a whole is amazing, or I'm not saying it's a perfect 10 out of 10. I'm saying it's a great series and it's pretty amazing, but it's not amazing. I have my criticisms with it.
What would you say your biggest criticism are besides
Marie is probably the worst character, pretty boring, pretty annoying at points. I also find that as you said, Jack's gang came out of nowhere towards the end.
It's just kind of like...
I understand why they exist,
like,
though.
some of it just, like, exists because Vince Gilligan was trying to write the series out, so that way he could have...
But Vince Gilligan is a brilliant writer. He's a genius.
Yeah, but just because you're a brilliant writer doesn't mean you can be susceptible to comment, like... Because, like, with the book, that you could have... Easy way to justify is because, something had to happen in order to justify Hank finding out who he really is, or with Jack's gang, it's just kind of like, alright, we need like one final real villain. When really the final villain could have really realistically just been Walt himself, just to fight the inner demons he has become.
But you can't really do that in a series that's pretty realistic. Even if it's sort of a battle of the mind sort of thing.
Yeah, battle of the minds, like there's Walter White, and then there's Heisenberg.
Oh, you're missing the point!
What point?
Dude,
what point?
You're missing the point that the ending that was crafted was pretty good, and the fact that yes, it was.
Dull.
It wasn't dull. It was great.
Like, it ends with him dying. That's it.
That's
It's
good.
like,
That's a good scene though. That's a good scene. It has good emotional weight.
I'm glad that they ended it because they could have dragged it on.
Dude, you're not even. Oh my god. It's just, you know what?
How?
You're missing the fact that the finale is really well done. A really good action scene, or a gunfighting scene, whatever. A really good idea from Walt coming up with new ideas. Vince Gilligan found.
Oh yeah, with the trunk, like it opens up and that was a cool part.
And he gets shot, but he's like, I don't really care that I got shot. It hurt, sure, but I'm gonna die anyway. Jesse, kill me. No, I don't want to kill you. I'm gay. And then this happens. So it's a really well done scene. A really good finale in general. Besides a few minor quirks I have with it, but other than that, the whole Jack gang thing done in a really good way. When Jack's like, wait. And then he has a little drag, and then he dies. He's like, if you kill me, you won't find $50,000. Bang!
It's like, I don't care.
He doesn't care at that point. And that shows, it's also a really good scene. That's also a really good scene. Like, he kills, because when Hank's about to die, he's like, do what you gotta. He was going to say, do what you gotta do, but Jack shoots him, so he interrupts Hank before he dies. Walt does the exact same thing, so it's another link.
Another link?
Yeah, he's like, if I die, you'll never find my $50,000. And he shoots him before he can finish his sentence. That's sort of an Easter egg to when Hank died. He wants to kill him in the same way. You killed my brother-in-law, Hank, so I'm going to kill you in the exact same way. He doesn't give him a chance to talk. And it shows how far Walt's come and how dark he's become. He doesn't care about money anymore. He's got it figured out. His family's already going to get money, supposedly, up to interpretation, as I said. That's a really well done scene. So what's your problem?
The problem is that the whole series in general is
great.
Just dull, and
It's
when
not
something
dull.
does happen, the payoff isn't that good.
It's not dull, and the payoffs are always really, really good. The payoffs, for example, this character having more emotional depth, this character dying, these people being traumatized, innocents dying, their product being expanded to a new market over the Mexican border when they're transferring for the Salamanca family. All this different stuff happening, all these characters being introduced, all these plot threads that are really creative coming forth. What is your problem, mate?
The problem, like I said, it's just, I just found the whole, personally, I just found it boring.
It's like when people say, I don't like Lord of the Rings. Why? Too long. But there's stuff happening!
That's okay, that is a justifiable reason to not.
We're not talking about how awesome the Lord of the Rings are, because they're awesome movies. Shut up. Anyway, Breaking Bad.
If we're talking something, because there's so many series out there, and a series has to do something to justifiably be good.
Okay.
So if I say I found that really dull, then I can go, alright. Sorry.
Don't keep interrupting. Better Call Saul is like a really slow-paced series. It's even slower than Breaking Bad. I recommend it to you because I enjoy the series. Yeah. But a lot of it is Jimmy McGill, who's Saul Goodman's secret identity in his past life. Jimmy McGill going around doing this stuff, a lot of lawyer stuff. So I think that I enjoy this series, but I think it's not as good as Breaking Bad. Vince Gilligan still has top-notch writing, and he's really good at directing scenes and everything. So I think you'd find Better Call Saul. You'd have to watch it for yourself. There's 3 seasons out.
Yeah, I haven't seen.
You'd probably find it. I recommend it to you.
Yeah,
but
I should watch it.
For someone like you, I think you'd find it, if you found Breaking Bad boring at times, then you'd probably find that Better Call Saul even more boring, even though I like Better Call Saul, because it's just what it is. And the plots that Jimmy goes through. It's a prequel, so you can't expect as much from a prequel. It's the whole Star Wars argument.
Yeah.
But,
Star Wars argument,
fuck
really?
Off. I hate the prequels so much for
Star Wars. You really hate them.
I think we've exhausted Breaking Bad to the breaking point. But we won't end now. We'll just keep droning on about shit.
Yeah.
So we've reached the breaking point.
Yeah.
But boom.
I mean, this talking about like bad series did suddenly get me thinking about another series I was watching, The 100.
The 100. Oh, I remember that.
You've seen it?
Fox.
Have you seen it?
I saw the first 2 episodes. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I haven't watched anything else since.
The problem with that series is they keep upping the game. They keep upping the threats.
Like introducing new.
So the first big villain is the Grounders, and they go, oh, okay, these guys are a pretty big legitimate threat. And then the second big threat is Mount Weather.
Mount Weather. Yeah.
Right, and then the third biggest threat is some crazy guy on the same side. But then they go, oh wait, no, he's not actually a bad guy. It's actually this crazy AI that was created 100 years ago.
So the whole thing with the 100 is Earth's pretty much fucked, and they move to space, and then they're like, oh, we're going to send 100 people back to Earth. Most of them die. Some of them live.
To see if the Earth is livable. And the thing is, But by the season 3, when at the end of season 3, they've exhausted all their villains, that the new villain is literally a nuclear reactor on the other side of the planet is about to explode.
Would you say the series is dumbed down and was good, or is still
No,
good?
it's just kind of gone. They've upped the threat level so much. It's just unbelievably unrealistic.
Breaking Bad didn't up the threat level. They introduced equally talented or even
equally threatening at
villains.
different levels.
Whether it be season 1, which was Tuco to a certain extent, season 2, they introduced season 2 didn't really have a villain. Season 3 was Gustavo, season 4 Gustavo again, season 5 Jack, and then Hank.
Like the 100 is dark and it starts off.
Is it boring dark or just entertaining dark?
It's good. It's entertaining. At points, it's a bit slow, but it's very good as it's entertaining. But the thing is, the villains get progressively more and more out of the world.
It's like the whole Marvel villain thing, where all the Marvel villains are pretty boring as well.
Yeah.
Like the guy from Black Panther, crap.
Yeah.
The other one who Gollum's actor, he was alright.
Yeah, he was alright.
Claw.
Claw. Yeah, he was.
The anti-Black Panther or whatever. We'll call him Reverse Black Panther.
Reverse.
Just like a Reverse Flash because he's shit.
Reverse Black Panther. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't remember what he's.
We'll call him Tentacion.
Killmonger. Killmonger.
That's his name?
I think it was.
What shit?
I know.
He was a boring villain. He died. He was.
Yeah.
And then Marvel has a lot of shit villains, particularly like all Spider-Man villains, terrible.
Really, Green Goblin.
Apart from Green Goblin, he was okay.
Doctor Octopus.
Yeah, don't really like him.
Don't really like him.
Spider-Man 2's a perfect...
Venom.
Venom, I don't really like either. He's just reverse Spider-Man.
Are you going to watch the Venom movie? Yeah or no?
I know I've talked a lot about superhero fatigue. I really like Tom Hardy, and the director who's directing the Venom movie, I am optimistic about, because I don't think it'll be like... I think it'll be more like Logan, hopefully.
Because
that was Venom
is a villain. Venom's a villain.
Yeah.
So it might be interesting what they do with him.
Venom, yeah, I'm optimistic about it. Maybe if the first trailer really wows me, then I'll watch it. But,
Oh, haven't you seen the trailer of Venom?
No, that's the teaser. The first official trailer, I mean.
Yeah. It seems interesting, like it's climbing up his neck and then he starts screaming.
I wonder if it'd be really good though.
Yeah. That's the real question.
It's like creating Venom in Spider-Man 3 was done really stupidly where it just falls on him.
Yeah. And then the thing is the other thing with the 100 is there is some points in the 100 where the characters do undergo legitimate threats. Like there's one point.
Well, they undergo legitimate threats in Breaking Bad.
Well, no. Let me put one thing with the 100. With the 100, right? There's a point where they need the other grounder forces to help invade Mount Weather.
Yeah.
But the thing is, one of the main heroes massacred an entire village. He straight up gets a machine gun and just kills everyone in the village.
What's his problem?
And then what happens is he's captured by the grounders, and then they demand justice for every person he's killed. So what happens is they say, all right, if you're not... the thing is, in order for us to side with you, you must hand him over and we must deliver our justice. And it's like death by 1,000 cuts. So every person he killed, he gets sliced for it.
I got to sit down and watch
and
the
he
whole
just
series.
bleeds out.
How many seasons are there? 3?
4 now.
4?
I think they're releasing their 5th one soon. But the thing is, the villain, the hero, Clark, goes up to him, and as he's tied to a post, she just quietly shanks him in the gut, and he just dies.
Well, I'll tell you what.
So it's to save him from that less vulnerable death, and I did not see him coming. I thought they'd find a way to get him out, but no, they killed him.
I'll tell you what, I am not a fan of the whole one villain one season. Season 1 I'll have a villain, season 2 I'll have a different villain next season. I think it's better to have maybe 2 seasons will have one villain, or maybe a villain will die pretty quickly like Tuco did in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Or maybe it'll be he appears earlier but he becomes a villain later on. It's spread out. It's not as generic and sort of linear as it is usually in a lot of series.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad doesn't do that. Breaking Bad's pretty
but
cool.
There was one series that I felt guilty of, that was really guilty for the whole villain thing.
What's that then?
Falling Skies.
I used to enjoy a bit of it, but it was always the same villain though.
Yeah, it was always the same villain, but then the bullshit reason as to why they're there is terrible.
Why is that?
Okay, so there's season 1. It's implied that they want to conquer the world.
No, I've seen it.
Yeah,
and then
there's 2, 3, and then there's
I haven't watched
4.
I haven't watched the 4th one. It's like the Breaking Bad season.
No,
5
there's 5
split
seasons,
half.
and the 5th season was the final season.
Yep.
And the 5th season's reason as to why they've invaded the planet, they go, because my daughter came here at one point and you guys killed her, so I came here with a bigger force and I'm here to kill you all.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It is some of it's kind
It's
of
kind of like
laughable.
that was like a bullshit reason. Like it was a cool, fun season to watch. It was
Yeah.
a fun series to watch. But that reason of it is like, oh, you're actually you've killed my daughter. That's why I hate you.
Yeah, Breaking
What?
Bad doesn't have stupid reasons to why villains die or plot threads happen.
Yeah, it's like at no point. I never like at no point did I ever feel a villain's death
Do you
was
like
stupid.
Do you like the villain? That well, not really.
The villains in the series were good.
Yes.
Except Jack. I
Jack
felt
was
Jack. I
Jack
felt
was
Jack
okay.
was
He just came out of
forced.
nowhere.
Jack was forced because
Yeah.
they just needed one last final villain. But like Gus was probably one of the best villains.
Oh, Gustavo Fring was my favorite villain.
And the fact that he poisons everyone at that party, and then like
Don Eladio and everything.
Yeah,
Dude,
that
let
was
me tell you
cool.
this. Gustavo, I used to hate and want him to die just because of all the stuff he did, like killing the kids, being a dick to Walt.
Oh.
In Better Call Saul, they make him likable. Can you imagine?
How do you mean
Well,
likable?
Gus has two sides. The serious, like a drug lord business side, where he just wants everything to happen perfectly and he wants everything to fall in place. But he has the other side, which is like where he pretends to be all like family friendly and nice to everyone.
Oh yeah, with what was the chicken chain? The
Los Polos Hermanos.
Los Polos Hermanos.
Dude,
yeah.
I heard they're making a real life Los Polos Hermanos train in Albuquerque and all around America.
I want to do that.
I want to go there. That sounds awesome. I'll try the El Frio chicken wings and then get shot by the two Salacamarca brothers.
So what? They have a bunch of like Breaking Bad cameos in the store.
Yeah. Search
be
it up.
amazing.
Los Polos Hermanos.
Los Polos.
That
Hermanos.
sounds dope. I'd fuck with like a KFC ripoff, like a nice bucket of popcorn chicken. Hermanos. They're making a real one. Search it up. Just click on news.
Oh, there we go.
Los Polos Hermanos.
He's insensitive. What?
Oh, no. Fuck.
No.
No. Click off. Click
Wait,
off.
no, hang on. I'm curious.
No, it'll be some bullshit. No, we're on a podcast. Just click off it.
Oh, man. That
It's gonna be
would've
some
been
stupid
awesome.
social justice thing, like, oh, he's a black man, he sold chicken, crap like that. So that's pretty cool.
So what?
So just to sum
And
up,
he uses the chicken store to launder all the stuff.
yeah, that's clever.
That's clever.
To sum up, Breaking Bad is a very nice 9 out of 10. Brilliant series. Not a masterpiece, but it's really good. Very entertaining. I highly recommend it. What would you give it out of 10?
I'd say 5.5.
What the hell? That low?
Yeah. Maybe a 6. Maybe a 6.
Better be a 6 or higher.
Like, it's like the thing
It's
is
so good.
there's nothing spectacular that makes me go, yes, you need to
We clearly
watch
have very
this.
different
Yeah,
tastes.
very different tastes here. But I suppose that's what makes it interesting that we can have these
Okay.
conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say that I won today. Just not out of ego, but I'd say I'd won.
Yeah, I mean, you were, yeah, I mean...
No, you presented your points. You presented your
Yeah.
criticisms. I guess I can't. I
mean,
try to see
like,
it
you
from.
can't-
I try to
yeah.
see everything from a
So-
bird's eye perspective, different point of views.
And like, the thing is, when it comes to TV series...
It's very broad.
Yeah, and there's like so many out there. It's just like, if you didn't like this, you might like this. That sort of
Absolutely.
thing.
Well, guys, thank you for joining us for episode 3 of the Coinflip podcast. I think we're going to call it Breaking Lead.
Breaking
I
Lead,
think
yeah.
we got pretty mad at each other at this podcast.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Me more so.
Very salty.
Oh, all right, guys. Thanks for joining in. Kill yourselves.